Mr. Chet Habowski was born on May 27, 1944, in Shamokin, Pennsylvania. He had 5 brothers and sisters. One of his sisters died when she was 1 year old due to breathing problems. He has 2 brothers and 2 sisters that are still living. Was the oldest child. When he was a kid, their family was very poor, but he didn't really notice it or mind it because everyone else was the same way. His mother worked in a sewing factory, and his father owned a coal mine, and his father also worked in it. When he was 14, his dad made him work in the mine over the summer, and he also worked there for the next 2 summers. In those 9 months, he decided that he didn't want to become a coal miner. After graduating from high school, he enlisted in the Navy. Some of his friends joined with him and trained with him. He enlisted because at the time, if you lived upstate, there wasn't any work available. You either had to be a coal miner or join the military.
Yes, my father was in the Navy. My brother was in the Navy. My other brother was in the Navy, of which one of them stayed 23 years. I have 3 nephews that were all in the Navy. So it's sort of a Navy family. It was sort of a thing to join the Navy.
His father was in the Navy, and so were his 2 brothers, and he said that's why he decided to join the Navy. However, his father wasn't too excited that he joined the service. His mother was also upset, but she knew it was the best option he had. After enlisting, he said that he enjoyed training, now that he looked back on it, but at the time he thought it wasn't fun. He attended basic training at Great Lakes, Illinois. In Illinois, he said the summers were like Pennsylvania, but the winters were bitterly cold, and that they got tons of snow. He remembers that boot camp was all about cleanliness, and it was very difficult.
Basic training for him was supposed to be 9 weeks, but because of the war, it was an extra 4 weeks for the ones who would go overseas. He also had advanced training in the Great Lakes region. His advanced training was in radar repair and gunnery systems. That was a 20-week school because of the amount of information he had to learn. He also said that he went to advanced training for this because he had to. The Navy decided this because every week they would issue the sailors some tests, and those tests would determine what their jobs would be. Those tests determined that he would be best suited for something that heavily involved math. The options were a radar technician, electronics technician, or a fire control technician. As a fire control technician, he was responsible for the radars, the Doppler, the power supplies, and all the electronics. Every day he would have to run tests on all the electronics and record the data in a logbook. He would also have to serve as an afterwatch. This is a person that sits in the engine room and was ready to steer the ship in case of an enemy knocking out the command tower. As a fire control technician, he got to work on a destroyer in the Francis Marion. The troop transport ship, or the Francis Marion, was based out of North Virginia, while the destroyer was based out of Pearl Harbor. They nicknamed the destroyer a tin can. They called them this because of their size and durability. When he was on the other ship, every 3 days they would normally send all the Marines ashore to practice taking beachheads. Sometimes he would even sneak on one of the boarding ships and go ashore with them. After a while, everybody was very efficient at it.
During the war, he served in an array of countries. He served in the Subic Bay, the Philippines, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia, and a lot of other places. Then his parents got in an automobile accident, and neither one of them made it. Mr. Habowski was then allowed to fly home to his remaining family. When he got home, he took care of everything. Then he was relocated to Virginia, where he was assigned a different ship. The ship was the troop transport ship, and he was assigned that ship because then he would be closer to his family. While he was in the Navy, he said they felt like he was serving a purpose. He thought that everyone did, and that's why they joined. 3 of his military friends died during the war. However, he did not witness any of them die. When he was overseas, the main form of communication was through letters, and he had to buy his supplies to write the letters. He was also very excited to come home, but because of the war, his service was extended by a couple of weeks. When he finally got home, his family treated him well, but the hippies and the protesters didn't treat him well as a military person. He also said that if the protesters would have served, that their views would have changed because one had to be in the military to understand the military.
After serving, Mr. Habowski said that it wasn't a hard job to readjust to civilian life, and the hardest thing to do was get a job. He got a job in Philadelphia working for the General Electric Company, and during the day he would work there, but then instead of going home, he would drive to Temple and take classes.
And the reason I picked electrical engineering is because of my training and my schooling in the military was all in electronics.
Since he was in the Navy, he got educational benefits and they paid for his degree. He majored in electrical engineering and graduated in 1971. The habits of cleanliness that he formed in the military stuck with him for the rest of his life. He does not regret serving in the military, and he said that if his country called for it, he would take up arms and serve again, and he believes that any veteran would.